I never believed in witches. Ghost stories were something to laugh at on quiet nights. That all changed the night I saw her, and I've never felt the same kind of fear before, or since. It was February 2018 in London, bitterly cold, dark before 5 p.m. I was working late at the office near Farringdon and decided to take a shortcut through Hatton Garden back to my apartment in Clerkenwell. My phone battery was low and the streets were nearly deserted, the occasional taxi rattling past, leaving a fleeting warmth behind. That's when I noticed her, standing across the street, staring at me. She was hunched slightly, wrapped in a dark coat that seemed too heavy for the mild chill, her face hidden under a wide-brimmed hat. At first I assumed she was homeless, or perhaps just someone waiting for a friend, but there was something in the way she held herself. Too still, too focused, too deliberate. I tried to avoid eye contact, quickened my pace and turned into a side street, hoping she wouldn't follow. She followed. I could hear the soft click of her boots against the pavement, exactly in time with mine. My heartbeat spiked. It wasn't a comfortable fear, like when someone is simply lost in the city. It was predatory, focused, almost intelligent. I ducked into a small alley, thinking I could lose her in the shadows, but when I glanced back, she was there, halfway down the alley, not moving, just watching. I could feel her eyes on me. I ran. The alley opened onto Leather Lane, and I finally felt a brief sense of relief when she didn't appear immediately. But then I caught a glimpse of her reflection in a shop window. She was closer than I thought. And then she disappeared. I shrugged it off. Maybe it was a trick of the shadows, the stress from work, the city lights reflecting off the wet asphalt. But that night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, things got worse. I was making tea in my kitchen, my apartment on the 3rd floor, when I noticed movement in the reflection of my kitchen window. A figure, dark and still, standing on the street below. I ran to the window. It was empty. Over the next few days, small things began happening. My keys would disappear, only to be found in places I never put them. The lights in my apartment would flicker without reason. Sometimes I would feel a presence behind me when I was completely alone. At first, I told myself it was stress, lack of sleep, paranoia, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. Then came the first voice. It was soft, almost a whisper, like someone breathing my name. Emma. It came while I was in the shower. My bathroom door was locked. I froze, gripping the towel around myself, my heart hammering. I convinced myself it was my imagination, the way water amplifies sound. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching me. By the end of the week, I was actively afraid to stay in my own apartment. I tried rationalizing it, installing cameras, asking neighbors if they had seen anyone suspicious. But no one had. No one had seen her. Then I saw her again, in the flesh, or whatever this was. It was late at night, around 11 p.m. I had stayed late at work again and was walking home through the streets near St. John's Gate. The area was quiet, the kind of quiet that presses in on you, makes you hyper-aware of every sound. That's when I felt it, a cold pressure behind me. I turned slowly, and there she was, the same hunched figure, her hat casting her face in shadow, but this time I saw her eyes, sharp, calculating, unsettlingly human. I ran. I didn't look back. The next day my phone rang. I had no missed calls. Then a text. You can't hide. I see you. I froze. My hands shook. I had no idea who could have sent it. I didn't know anyone in London with my number. The text came from an unknown number, one that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Over the next few days, things escalated. My apartment felt wrong, as though someone else had moved in with me. Drawers opened on their own. My apartment door, always locked, was sometimes slightly ajar when I returned. I even found small piles of black ash on my kitchen counter. I never lit candles. One evening, I woke to find her standing in my living room. She wasn't outside this time. She had to have entered while I was asleep. I bolted upright, heart hammering. She was watching me, her hat tipped down, hands hidden beneath the long coat. I blinked. She was gone. It was after that night I realised this wasn't a prank or a stalker. It wasn't someone trying to scare me for fun. It was deliberate, personal. I started researching, late into the night, paranoid and desperate. And that's when I came across the forum post that chilled me to the bone. Witches in Clerkenwell, Real Experiences, 2018. It wasn't fantastical talk of broomsticks or potions. It was all real world. People reporting stalkers who seemed to appear out of nowhere, shadows that felt alive, and a dark woman who was said to follow those who crossed her path. The descriptions were almost identical to her. Hat, coat, the slow, deliberate stalking. I read stories of people finding black ash, small voodoo-like figurines, and messages written in unexpected places. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't. But deep down, I knew. That night, I heard her again, whispering my name, Emma. I couldn't move. Every hair on my body stood on end. I grabbed my phone, dialed a friend, anyone, but no one answered. My apartment felt smaller, the shadows longer. I remember the moment most vividly. She appeared in my doorway, as if drawn there by my fear. She wasn't moving, just standing, watching. I couldn't see her face, I couldn't breathe. Then she raised a hand, slow, deliberate, and pointed at me. My heart stopped. And then she smiled. I ran out of the apartment, into the freezing streets, and didn't stop until I reached the nearby tube station. I bought a ticket to the next train and stayed in a corner, trembling, watching the darkened streets through the glass. I couldn't go back that night. The next day, I called a private investigator, a woman who specialised in stalking cases and security. She came by, surveyed my apartment, and took photos of the ash, the marks on my door, the disturbances I had recorded on my phone. She said she couldn't explain it scientifically, but advised me to stay somewhere else until we figured out who or what was behind it. I stayed at her apartment that night. The next morning she called. "I've been reviewing your footage," she said. "There's someone, or something. You're not imagining this. You have to be careful. She's watching, always." I didn't understand at first. "Who? Who is she?" I asked. "She's not just anyone. She's a witch, in the traditional sense. Someone who targets people, controls them through fear and presence. You've made her aware of you." That explained the escalation, the stalking, the messages, the black ash, every detail. But it didn't make me feel any safer. Over the next week, the attacks grew more precise. She would appear while I was running errands, standing across streets, waiting in shop doorways, always watching. I learned to never walk alone after dark. I started carrying pepper spray. I changed my routine, my routes, my schedule. One night, I decided to return to my apartment for a brief moment. I had left some essential items behind. As soon as I stepped inside, I felt it. The cold, oppressive presence of someone or something in the room. The lights flickered violently, drawers opened and slammed shut. I froze, backing into a corner, heart hammering, breath shallow. Then I heard it. A deliberate, slow tapping on my bedroom door, as if someone was counting seconds, measuring my fear. I didn't move. I waited. The tapping continued, louder, more insistent, until it suddenly stopped. Silence. Then a soft whisper. "You cannot escape me." I ran. Again. The final escalation came a week later. I had returned to my apartment to pack more belongings for a temporary stay elsewhere. The front door was slightly ajar. My heart sank. Inside, the apartment looked untouched, until I noticed the black ash drawn into a larger circle this time, surrounding my bed. At the centre, a note in jagged handwriting. "You can leave, you can run, but you will remember me." I didn't look back. I left London for a few days, staying in a hotel where I had security cameras in every room. Even then, I felt her presence, an invisible weight pressing down, testing me. Months later, I moved apartments, changed routines, and tried to forget. But sometimes, in the shadows at the edge of my vision, I feel her, watching, patient. Witches don't need magic to control you, just the patience to wait and the courage to terrify.